Fear is growing as more people from a northwest suburban village battle cancer. They blame two companies for contaminating land with toxic chemicals. CBS 2 investigator Dave Savini digs into buried secrets.
They picked on our small little town, and they thought they were going to get away with it.
Brenda Bolt gets emotional when she thinks about growing up in the McHenry County village of Union.
We didn't know that they were doing it.
Memories of playing in the fields around her school, Evergreen Park Academy, now tainted.
We didn't know it was bad for us.
She didn't know toxic chemicals were being dumped by neighboring companies for decades.
We didn't know it could cause us cancer.
Was all this just kept secret?
I don't think we thought anything was wrong.
She is the latest to come forward, accusing factories near homes and her local grammar school of endangering an unknown number of lives by spewing waste from cleaning solvents like TCE, trichloroethylene, into the ground in the 1970s and 80s.
For a small town, there's a lot of people with cancer and have died.
Back in April, the CBS 2 investigators revealed how 8 people with cancers had filed lawsuits. Now there are 25 people who believe their cancers are connected. When Brenda, who now lives out of state, watched our report online, she recognized a familiar face, Dana Harper.
I looked in the mirror and I saw a lump
Dana was one of Brenda's schoolmates at Evergreen.
on my lymph nodes on my collarbone here.
Dana was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma in 2017 and went through grueling treatments. Her mother, Donna, also had cancer, multiple myeloma, and died in 2003 at the age of 65.
You think of all the people in this neighborhood?
Yes, all the kids that attended Evergreen Park School, the whole community.
The companies accused of dumping include Southern Cal, which became Fibrotech before it shut down, and Techalloy, now Central Wire.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Scott Carr worked as head of maintenance at Techalloy, and in this sworn testimony said dumping chemicals outside was a weekly assignment.
They would take 800-gallon lats and dump them on the ground.
Both companies enacted cleanup plans in the 90s when the Environmental Protection Agency got involved, and a pumping station was put in to clean contaminated water in the ground and send it into the nearby river.
What do you believe?
I believe that for 20 plus years that I was slowly poisoned.
And after seeing Dana's story, I kind of put some things together.
These go in here.
The story we told about Dana and the dumping in Union made Brenda angry and filled with pain. She now believes she's finally found an answer to a haunting question about the source of the cancer cases in her own family.
My dad suffered so bad. He didn't want to die that way.
Her father, Irvin Bolt, died in 2017.
Couldn't walk, he could hardly walk, he couldn't talk. The brain tumor, it was hard. It was really hard to see that.
And your brother?
My brother too.
Her brother, Ken Bolt, died last year.
The chemo, the surgeries, he ended up having to have a colostomy bag.
Her brother's cancer was in multiple areas, including the liver.
To die at age 54 was way too young, and he died on my birthday.
If that wasn't bad enough, her best friend Lynn Alvarez also got cancer. Lynn is wearing number 13, Brenda number 10 on the school basketball team.
Do you remember when she told you she had cancer?
My heart sank.
I think we had to assemble our own cancer cluster study.
Mike Greco, a lawyer with the firm Romanucci and Blandon, is suing the companies involved.
This used to be a ball field right here.
That's right.
And this is where they found toxic chemicals.
Right here. This is the maps that show the 19 times the safe drinking limit. It says baseball playing field.
He says tests on groundwater below the surface were done years ago through monitoring wells and showed toxic chemicals migrated to the field next to the school.
You want to get a list of all of the children that played on this playground and went to that school in the 70s, 80s, and beyond.
That's right. We're interested to know what illnesses and what cancers have been caused by the Fibrotech and by Techalloy just over here.
Mr. Wernicke, you realize you're still under oath here, sir?
Yes, I do.
In this deposition, Chris Wernicke, Fibertech's highest-ranking official in charge of cleanup efforts after the plant shut down, didn't believe the school was impacted by the chemicals.
I did not do a specific risk assessment on the school because it hadn't reached there.
And he also doesn't think the school children or anyone was in danger because the kind of testing they did do found chemicals so deep in the ground there was no threat to the public. The PCE, or perchloroethylene, they did find registered 19 times the EPA safe level for drinking water.
Even though they're above the drinking water standard, those levels are very conservative and they do not translate directly into inhalation exposure. The kids are not drinking that water.
Again, not a problem, he says, since union residents don't drink from well water. But the people suing are still worried about what they might have breathed in decades ago because these buried chemicals can turn to toxic vapors and seep up.
And what's your fear?
It's going to happen to me. Not if, it's when.
Dave Savini, CBS 2 Investigators.
The family's lawyers say testing near the school as recent as 2016 showed contamination underground. But after Dave's reporting in April, the school district conducted its own tests and say they did not find any contaminants on school grounds. Neither company responded to our questions.